Hi friends, how are you? I hope you're all well. I hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. And most importantly, like I always say, I hope you are treating yourself well. Today, I thought I'd make a video. I was thinking of making it. It always happens. I think of making a video on something else, and then something pops up, and then I end up making a video on some other topic. So today, I would like to make a video on gender identity because there is so much shame and again taboo and judgment surrounding that concept, that there are individuals who may be in a male body and who may be in a female body, and they identify as the other gender. They never get to express themselves and they live a very stifled life. I know it's a very debatable topic, but I don't find it debatable. I i in a way respect people's choices as long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're in good in your heart, you know your intentions. There is no use denying your authenticity, your essence. I'll just get a glass of water and I'll come back because I need a sip. Yeah, I had to go fetch a glass of water. Actually, I should keep a glass of water nearby because my mouth keeps getting dry. Stress does that to you. So I'll give you an analogy first, and please, guys, don't go like here she goes again. She'll just tell us something about her life. But I do assure you there is a point here. So I am having severe back pain. I don't know how and why. And I was thinking of making the video. I thought I would just recline on the pillows on my bed, not just flat out like that, but just a little bit of it, and it will give rest to my back, and it will be easier for me. And then it's like my relationship with God is I'm not again pushing this agenda over anyone, each to their own, you know, whatever you believe in or you don't believe in. But my relationship with God is such. I was like, it's like God was telling me, you want to talk about such an important thing and you want to do it like kind of reclining and all. And I was like, God, I'm really having severe back pain. God said, I got your back, don't worry. And I was like, I'm in such pain and you are making a joke. So that is the kind of relationship I have with God, like a parent and a child. And I really do know that God has my back. It's not that He's just treating my back pain or illnesses, but God has been there with me. So I do have a point. I'm not asking you to all become religious or anything. That's one thing. And second thing is, while I was, and I was like, earlier when I would make a video, I would look for a perfect angle. And then I would pray. I prayed to God. God, I don't seem to find a right angle. So God was like, and I was so obsessed with having a professional setting, decorating it in a way that it would look very professional and all. And then it's like God reminded me, what is your motive here? Do you want to seem like a doctor when you're not a doctor? You talk about authenticity, and you said you want to have a heart to heart conversation, right? I said, yeah. Then God said, why don't you keep it simple? I'll help you. So this simple backdrop, and I can, if I want, I can recline, So, and I've seen God having my back. I've seen how God protects us. Um, and another point is, and I will explain it all, how it relates to what I'm saying. I was applying this lipstick. I am really fond of red lipstick, and it was all the time it was turning out pink, and I was like, why is my red lipstick coming out pink? And then I was like, when I looked, it was like I had put the cap of um, the red lipstick upon the pink lipstick, and I didn't care to look inside, and I was just looking at the cap, and I kept applying it, wiping it off, thinking it will with it will miraculously turn red. Then I had to pay attention, and then I was like, then it then I realized it's like God is speaking to me, like in a way. uh, and it was like God was like, go make a video on gender identity, and I was like, do you know how much trouble it can get me into? And God said, you should have thought about it before you made the commitment, and if you really care, you would not be scared. You would really share what you believe, because somebody might be there stifling, somebody might be there in a so much suffocation because they can't reveal themselves, because they are in a way denying their essence, and living like living as what society expects them to be. And I don't have anything against society, the good things that society has, but the unrealistic kind of expectations and so much of things that we have in our society are so detrimental to our mental health. Just a moment, my father is calling. Yeah, my father was saying something. So it's like there are so many things that don't even matter, and the people who say those things, they don't even care what it will do to you. And we spend so much time thinking about those things. We completely change our lives. We completely change the trajectory of our lives. We start denying our identity. So I was talking about this gender identity. So there are so many of us, like, I say us because, like I said, I believe in the interconnectedness of everything. So who may somebody may be in a male's body, born as a male, but may identify as a female strongly. Somebody may be born as a female and may identify as a male strongly. And in when they are kids, in childhood, anyways, kids, they play roles, they play, that's how their characters develop. I'm not talking about that stage. When the kid starts growing a little, and when to a certain extent, when they have grown up, and we start expecting them to behave like, if it's a boy, you should be behaving like a boy. If it's a girl, you should be behaving like a girl. But when the kid is showing signs that he or she is more interested in kind of is showing up uh, more as the opposite gender, we try to shame them at such an early age. We try to teach them it's so wrong. You're a boy, you shouldn't be. I mean, and there's nothing wrong in that if it's in a healthy way. um but if it is recurrent, then as adults, I'm not giving parenting tips. I'll tell you right now. I'm starting from the beginning. So as adults, we have to understand how to handle the situation. So don't shame the kid, you know because somebody in your neighborhood or the society would think something, and you would be deemed as unworthy parent or something like that. There is nothing unworthy in that. Unworthy is Being an unworthy parent is not understanding your child intentionally. If you have some problem and you are unable to understand your child, It's not your fault, I understand that. But intentionally, if you care about your status more than your child, then I don't think it's worth it, then I would not call you worthy. I'm sorry. But if you're somebody who care about their kids and their well-being, their mental health, more than their status in the society and what the people would say, who we may never see again in a way, and you kind of start shaming your kid, you kind of start being very demeaning to them so that they stop acting like that, then that is very detrimental to the kid's mental health. You can slowly try to understand them, talk to a kid. That's why I'm always saying, have a good relationship with your kids, have a dialogue with your kids, that they can trust you, you know and rather than turning to people or situations or things where they will be misguided or go down the wrong path of addiction or bad things. Just a moment, I'll have a sip of water. I'm just having some problem. Yeah, so I'm having some health issues really. So, but like I said, I had to show up because God wouldn't let me slack. And so, sorry. You can talk to your kid. Start having that rapport from early on where they can trust you and they are comfortable to share anything with you. So you can ask them without shaming them, baby, or however you address your kid. Why? And gently and kindly. This is how a boy behaves, or this is how a girl behaves. Why do you think you behave like this? Is there something like, because we don't know if it is really coming from inside the kid, it's really the kid wants to do that because it's a kid, right? Or he has or she has picked it from somewhere. So when you talk to the kid, you will get to know why they are showing up in that way. And if and you will know why, how, and when the kid explains it to you, and you will see like that they have not picked it up from somewhere. It is something that is coming from inside them, and mostly it doesn't happen to kids. It's like I guess when you start growing up, when you have grown up a little, like I guess when you have reached a teenage state, then it starts showing up. Then you start actually making this distinction. So but I'm not very sure of that. But what I'm sure of is when you when you get to know how you will get to know when it is recurrent, when the kid keeps showing up like that, then do not try to punish them for that. Do not uh, try to discipline them for that. Do not punish them for being authentic. When they're a kid, just try to lovingly explain to them, because that is the time their behaviors can be molded. That, look baby, this is how a guy behaves and this is how a girl behaves, but why don't you try behaving, if it's a boy, you can tell them, why don't you try behaving like this, how kids behave. I mean, I'm not in a favor of like this telling kids this, but then it becomes very difficult for a lot of parents. That's why I'm telling, this is something you can do. um, you know so our if it's a girl, you can tell, baby, see, this is how girl is like, so why don't you try that. And it's not about it's not about that boys and girls are not equal. It is not about that. But some things are inherently different in a kid, in a girl and in a boy, in a male and in a female, and in their behaviors, and we have to deal accordingly with them. It's not that we should kind of instill some kind of a superiority complex in one and inferiority complex in the other. You should never do that. You should never compare your kids. You should never compare a boy and a girl. So thankfully, I never had that comparison. So the kid might understand, and when they have grown to a certain extent, if it's a recurrent behavior, mostly there is so much shame around this thing that the kid will try to hide it from you. But like I said, if you have such a good rapport with them, you can ask them what's going on, why are you showing up like this, and they may even tell you that papa or mama or however, whatever relation you have with the kid, that this is how I feel. And you may not agree with that. Still, don't shame the kid. I'm talking about minors here. um and yeah, you shouldn't shame majors also, right? So when a kid is figuring things out, you can counsel them, like, and see that is it is it really what the kid wants, is it really what the kid identifies with. And if they do, I would request you to stand with them. I would request you to let them be who they are and instill confidence in them rather than shame. And if they're minor, I'm not asking you to just tell them, yeah, this is in a way, um, I mean, if it's a minor, you have to handle it very delicately. You can tell them, I understand how you're feeling. I may not be going through that, but I am your parent, right? So I understand and I accept you as you are. That is very important. And but do you think you can kind of wait, um, or do you think you can kind of, like, until you become a major, until you become 18 years of age, you know um, if it's very difficult for the kid and others, if he's or she is getting bullied or all, can you wait till you are 18 years of age to make a final decision about this thing? It may change also. So I guess a lot of kids will try to understand, but this things, our identity, it keeps knocking and knocking, you know to be recognized. So you have to be constantly there for them, reminding them that it's all right if you're feeling like that. If it's all right if you don't feel, if you're a boy and if you don't feel like a boy, you identify more as um, a female, and if you are a girl, you identify more as a boy. It's okay. I accept you anyways, right? And don't let other people shame your kid. When you see society or other people shaming your kid, dare to stand up for them. Dare to stand up for them. That will give them, I'm not saying that will encourage them to be like anything. No, that will give them a sense of security, that they can be themselves. They, you know, rather than stifling and suffocating under the weight of the society and under the weight of their parents also, if it happens. And it's mostly so much trauma comes from family, under the weight of the family. So you have to stand up against the family members also who are bullying your kids for that. That don't you do this to my kid. It's like, because the kid depends on you. And you have to make it very firm that you will not tolerate it if they treat your kids poorly. If the kid's behavior is good, if the kid is like identifying with the other gender is not bad. I'm not talking about that behavior. That is something maybe the kids kid wants. Maybe that is something the kid's soul really wants. But if the kid is like generally behaving badly, don't encourage that kind of behavior. But identifying with the other gender, and when genuinely it is like the kid is feeling like that, it is it becomes our duty to make them feel safe, and to find out if it is really what the kid wants, or is it something he has picked up from somewhere. I keep saying he, but he and she both, right? And once the kid attains, so the kid will um, grow up knowing that you have got their back. That's why I said that I have a point when I said God has my back. Like God told me, go do your work, I have got your back. So I feel confident, like, yeah, God has my back. My parents have my back too, but I cannot overburden them always with my problems. But to God I can always run with anything. And I get a lot of scolding also, like, you can do this yourself, why do you come running to me? Like I said, I have that kind of a relationship with God. So God kind of reparented me, kind of resurrected me when I was in a completely, like, you guys know my life story, I have shared it. So yeah, I was talking about, so they will know that they have a safe space. They will not grow up with some kind of it, first of all, it will give them the confidence to be who they are. Because when you have a solid foundation at home, and the first foundation is your parents, well, first foundation is you, your own confidence. But when you are growing up, that time you don't know that, right? That time you are just a kid. Even 18 years, I think, 18 years also, I consider them kids also. Legally they are majors. Yeah, God, my back is hurting, please. Yeah. So um, they will have a solid, they will know that they have a solid foundation, that their parents or their caregivers or whoever they trust has their back. So they will not be scared to show up as themselves, and they will listen to you also. If you will tell them that, if they're getting a lot of bullying from society, you can tell them to be like, you know just don't go, just don't, kind of, in a way. Because when people are bullying us in for something, for being ourselves, either we shrink or we become rebellious. And when we become rebellious, we overdo some things. So you have to teach them to have a calm mind and have a balance. You have to keep reminding them that this is not always going to be like this. So you know you be yourself. And I'm sorry that society is like that, but I do have your back. You have got me, or us, if it's both parents. And that way the kid will grow up a confident, kind individual. I would not say a man or a woman, because I don't know what gender they identify with. So I would ask you, what would you rather have? A kid or an adult who has severe anxiety issues, who is so in denial of their own identity because that's how they have grown up, that's how they were they were so shamed, there was so much guilt that was put around them, and they were even punished for that, that they can't even dare to like express themselves and show up as how they really feel. Everybody has the right to show up as how they feel. Everybody has the right to be their selves, again, in a way that it is not hurting others. And from what I mean from in a way that it is not hurting others is you be your authentic self. I'm not talking about the, somebody who is wicked or something like that, who goes around. It's completely different topic. Who goes around hurting other people? No, that is not being authentic. That is being wicked. So that's a completely different topic, though. But if you are just being you, you know, so you will have an adult who is kind, who is so confident in themselves, and who loves you because you have been there for them all this while, and they know you still are, and they will become your protector once they grow up, because they know how much you endured for them. It's not easy to stand up to society, um like, you know. So, or rather, you would have somebody who is so stifled, so suffocated, they get married and everything, um, just to please you and to please society, and you make them do it, you know, because you think that is best for the, now I would not say kid, the adult. And that kid has become an adult is who is who always suppresses who he is or she is. They can't they don't um have the courage. I mean, they have the courage, but they can't find it because they're so scared. As a Since they were a kid, they have been treated like that it is something bad. But if you're born like that, and if your soul keeps telling you, you are, like, you don't feel comfortable like that, and you identify with the other gender, how long can you deny yourself? And if you keep denying yourself, if you keep denying yourself, just to please others, it it crashes. At some or the other point, it crashes down, and the kid will grow up resentful of you. Chances are, when they grow up, they may even estrange themselves from you. They will move away. If they have that kind of a confidence, they will move away. And if it's a very meek kid and very dependent, they will do whatever you say, and they will be dying inside. Dying, not literally, but their soul would be, or their essence would be. Think about it. If we were in such a stage, if I felt like a guy, and I was forced to be to always feel like a woman, to always behave like a woman, things like that, like, to completely deny who I am. you know I love being a woman. So, but I understand people who identify with being the other gender. It's just that they are born in a male or female body doesn't disqualify them from being their authentic self. It's like, even kind of becomes a struggle for them, and we make it harder with judgment. So, yeah, just a moment. Again, I lost the train of my thoughts, and I do need to have a sip of the water. So we shame our kids with, in the name of religion, whatever excuse we may find. But when you have seen that, yeah, this is insistent, that this is really what the kid is going through, and when they are becoming an adult, I hope you recognize it early on, and you start making the kid feel safe, so that he grows up to be a confident adult, like, rather than a resentful adult. And um, again, I don't know what's going on today. Why am I forgetting things? It's because I'm not forgetting things, it's because It's not something that I have researched or anything. It's something that I know by heart. It's something that I feel in my heart, that how somebody would be feeling if they are constantly shamed for, you know, being themselves. When they are constantly shamed, and they are constantly being told, this is not how you should be, this is not how you should be. So it creates so much of mental trauma inside the kid. And if there is a kid who is, like, by God's grace, a very resilient kid, some kids are born like that. They don't take any kind of abuse. They would fight even as kids. I was never like that. So, but then, for survival, people have to adopt coping mechanisms. So if you keep on, like, shaming them, they will turn to things to numb their pain. I spoke about addiction in a video, and I ended up crying because I really understand when you are going through so much of mental issues, right? Mental trauma and other things. But when you have clarity, you can do something about it. But when you are addicted, you have no sense of self. There is nothing that you can do about it, because you're not even aware. So feeling helpless is something, or not being able to do something about any something, that makes me very sad. So, you know they might even they might even end up getting addicted, and whatnot. And the worst part is, like I said, they will get married and all just to make you happy. Is it worth it? Is it worth sacrificing your kids for society? And for society, I mean, just so that the society feels pleased, you know not because it is important for society. And I'm not even in the favor of sacrificing your kids or yourself in the favor of society. No, but then just to please people, who may be raising fingers. Is it worth it to sacrifice your kids' happiness and their identity, never letting them be who they are? And they will just keep on suffocating inside, and it will come out as behavioral issues. um I am saying identifying with the other gender is not a behavioral issue. I don't think that. I know how a soul's calling can be, how insistent it can be. So try to be gentle with your kids. Try to, and the people who associate with the other gender, give them some grace. Give them the freedom to exist. Don't shame them, you know because you are not going through what they are going through. You don't know how they may be, how much courage it takes up to show up as yourself. So I would say so many of them, they don't show up as who they are. They just uh, keep playing a part that you want them to, or the society wants them to. So that's what I was saying. And yeah, about the lipstick thing, right? Like I said, life has a point. Life has a way of teaching us in so many ways. I had put the cap of pink lipstick upon the red lipstick. No, sorry, red lipstick upon the pink lipstick, and I kept applying it and wiping it, thinking that it will go away. That's how the soul is. You know, the kid may be in a male body or in a female body, but their essence is of a female, or a soul has no gender, but then how they identify, what they identify with. So you keep trying to, every time, they show up as themselves. We try to put them in a box in a way. Like I had put the cap of the red lipstick upon the pink lipstick. But of course, it would come out as pink when I apply it. However, times I wipe it, it will come out as pink only. You know, it's like it's like their essence. If they're if they identify with being the other gender, however hard you try to deny it, their soul will be screaming, and their psyche, the mind, and their body will start getting affected, and they will become very depressed. They may not show it, they may not even show what they are going through, and they may show up like everything is good just to make you happy, just so that they can comply with the norms that society has. And I have nothing against the right things, but society has a lot of oppressive things also, so many oppressive things that does not let us people become who they are. I think how it should be is like, let people be who they are, in a way that it is not hurting anybody. When it is not hurting anybody and somebody is genuinely being themselves, then what problem do you have if you become a little kinder, little understanding? Just because it is not pleasing to you, you want somebody to completely deny their existence and become somebody else. How mean and cruel could that be? If somebody does that to you, how would you feel? Just because you don't find it pleasing, not because something is wrong with that. And we throw scriptures at our kids and adults also. We throw so many examples. Like I said, I have such kind of a relationship with God that I do read scriptures, and I don't identify with just uh, one. This may also become a debatable topic, but this is just my opinion. I'm not putting it upon anybody. Not everybody has to agree with me. Wherever I can find wisdom, I I read it, or I take it. Um, Even in smallest things, not just in books or scriptures. So whatever religion, it doesn't matter to me. If it's good, if it teaches you to do the right thing, I take that. So, and that's how I can be like, that I can speak, that throwing scriptures at them and making them ashamed and all, it is only going to make them even more guilty. They will start even disassociating from God. They will start thinking that God is cruel, that uh, it's like in one at one place it says that God is all merciful, and another, when you compare the acts, then you will see that it is completely opposite to what we think God is like. So that creates such kind of a confusion, and it divides the kids, it drives the kids away from God also. So I don't take everything that is written in the scriptures. I only take good what is good for me, what is good for everybody. And I don't believe God is cruel, or you know God is wonderful. Well, this video is not about God, it's just, well, everything is about God for me at least. But it's like, stop shaming them. They don't have to change, they don't need to change. We need to change as a society. We need to adapt to things that are not bad. Just because they are not pleasing to us, and we have some outdated ideas, a lot of outdated ideas, we keep oppressing innocent individuals. Nothing gives us that right. Nothing gives us that right. We need to evolve. You have to use your brain, your heart. God gave you that for a reason. Use it for the good, not to oppress somebody. Use it to see somebody's pain. Use it to alleviate somebody's pain. Use your intelligence, your discernment to help somebody. Rather than being a kind of um like I would say this the part of the society that is always shaming others. Don't be that. Be the change that we so desperately require. That's what I wanted to say. Like I said, I have no medical knowledge of this or anything. I just speak from my heart. This is how what I strongly feel. I would just share one incident. I was just walking down the road once. It was in another city when I was married. I saw a guy, but I would call her, I would call a girl. I saw her. She was breathtaking. She was born as a boy, I guess. Not I guess, she was born as a boy. But she had the courage to be herself. And by the way she walked and by the way she carried herself, I knew that she has had a very good upbringing. That her parents had her back. That kind of confidence was and grace was on her face, and she was so beautiful. And she was so beautiful. She was beautiful. Everybody is beautiful, when you are you are beautiful. So that beauty, that glow was coming up, I guess, because she was very comfortable being herself. Though she was born in a male's body, she identified as a female and she carried herself as a female. I really wanted to go to her and tell her, you are breathtaking. I do that. If somebody is good, I do go and compliment people. So, but we were just passing by, and the guy I was married to was in a hurry, and these people were also passing by. But I was like, I do respect you. It requires so much courage. And I do salute your parents, like, that gave you this confidence, and to you also, that you can show up like this. So, be the change. Don't keep carrying these outdated ideas, and stifling your kids, suffocating them, making them adopt false realities, or making them adopt false identities. It will just create a divide in their personality, and it will come out as myriads of mental issues, and and they will definitely resent you. They will grow up to be resentful. They may not show it. Some may show it once they grow up. Some may not even show it. They would just suffer in silence. So don't let that happen to your kids. That's what I wanted to say. And I don't know how I kind of got into this topic, though this is what I firmly believe, and I wanted to make a video on this topic later on. But it's like it strongly, I was like, I have to do this. And I still remember that girl. She was so beautiful because of the confidence. Her face was like an angel. It was glowing. And so I knew she is secure in her identity. She's not scared. Because you can't put on a face like that when you're scared. That glow doesn't come. When you're scared and you're putting a brave face, you don't get that glow. So please, let them be who they are. Stop judging. What we need is good people, kind-hearted people who understand each other. What Mother Earth needs is Now it's becoming like I will not make it spiritual. But as people also, what kind of people would you want beside you or around you? The people who are always bad mouthing each other, always finding faults with each other, or people who appreciate each other, accept each other, or when someone is doing something wrong, they correct it gently. When it is something very horrible, then you should do kind of, then you should take some harsh measures. But if someone is just surviving, just being themselves, what is the harm in that? How is that hurting you? How is that hurting me? So I would rather surround myself with people who have a good heart, you know and I would give them space to be authentic. I will not go and judge them. If something is very wrong, if they are doing something very wrong, I would first politely tell them, see, this is not right. And uh, and it uh, it's not about identifying with other gender. It's about behavior. If the behavior is wrong. But about this thing, if somebody identifies with being the other gender, I would give them that grace. And it's not, who am I to give them that grace? They are born, they have the right to exist. It's their soul's calling. It's their decision who they want to be once they grow up. As a kid, I wouldn't say that it's their decision, but as a kid, don't shame them that they can never dare to make that decision for themselves. So it's like, it was very wrong of me right now that what came out of my mouth, that I would give them space. No, who am I to give them space? They have all the right to exist. They have all the right to show up like how they feel, like how they identify with, what they identify with, and feel comfortable in that and accepted in that. And you will see how they will surprise you with what an amazing people they can be, you know so yeah. And some might be thinking, how is it about mental health? It definitely is about mental health. It's about their mental health. If they are constantly being oppressed, and if they are constantly being kind of you know asked to deny their existence, I would not say the other thing. It's like very sad. So but they are some people even abandon their kids for this. For what? Because the kid is trying to be themselves. That pull is so strong, and I don't know how I know that, but I know that. Like I said, I observe very deeply. I observe things very deeply, and I can look at somebody, and I can, you know not just read the whole life story. But if you are hiding some emotions, you may not be aware of it, but I can get, I catch that energy. I'll be like, before you are aware, I'll be aware that something is going on. And that really, in a way, upsets my father a lot, because he is kind of a stoic figure. He doesn't want to seem weak, and if he is worried about something, he puts on a face like everything is all right. And I would ask, I don't think you are okay. Is there anything bothering you? And then my father would be very dismissive. No, I'm not. So I said, I know what I'm talking about. So I hope this helps. We all have right to exist as we are. And nobody has the right to, if we are not doing anything wrong, nobody has the right to tell us not to show up the way we should be, or show up the way we want to show up as. So be there for your kids, and for the people also who may be feeling so insecure, and who may be suffocating inside. I would ask you to just imagine and think what they will be going through if we put them through so much judgment. Yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you. Yeah, and God really had my back. I mean, I'm not feeling that pain anymore, but I okay. Good luck, guys, and I love you guys. And I hope you find the courage to do the right thing. Okay.